Believe is what I wished somebody had taught me years ago. The wisdom, it was available, but it just didn't make sense. So if you're ready to stop doing life on your own and you're fed up of trying to figure everything out, if you're ready to receive what's been available to you all along, then you are in the right place. No more just going through the motions. It's time to believe and learn what that really means for you. Today we're looking at how toxic the self-help world is. And I know hearing that straight away, you might be like, but how? But it's about improving yourself. Surely that's a good thing, right? But today we're really going to look at why it's actually toxic and what it's actually going to stop you from doing when you're lost in that cycle of all consuming, all improving. So this message is really for women who are trying to find themselves, are trying to heal themselves, on some level trying to fix themselves. And you've probably heard the messages. You do you. You make it happen. Manifest your dreams. Create your goals. Create your vision. Believe in yourself. Heal yourself. You can do it. And we're going to really look at what that means. All of that should be a ticket to freedom. It sounds on the face of it so empowering, doesn't it? You're like, yes, I can do anything. But what should be freedom and liberation and empowerment actually becomes such a burden. So many women go through life feeling weighed down by that responsibility of having to try and figure everything out on your own. It's a huge weight to carry, but who do you go to? So I don't know everything. I'm going to be honest with you from the start. For anybody that's known me for a while, for a day, for a month, for years, you know that I'm super transparent. You get the whole shebang. When you're in my world, when you're in Believe, you get to know how all of this is playing out in my relationship, marriage, with my child, in my finances. You get to see it all, which I think is quite a good thing, because then you know you're not on your own and you get real life examples. So yes, this podcast, perfect example. This podcast used to be called Turn Yourself On. It was all about you. So you could turn you on, not in a promiscuous way, but it was very much, you have the power, you have it. It's you. You, with your energy, you can do it. Now, as you know, it's called this God thing. And again, so super transparent. I don't know all of the answers to this God thing. Will I ever? Probably not. But what I am learning and experiencing, which is the key word, experiencing more and more, is the power of actually leaning on God and believing that God is real. Not just hoping He's real when I need something, when I'm in trouble, when I desperately want some more money or a goal to be, realised, but genuine God, I am not doing life on my own anymore. So, welcome. If it's your first time here, a huge welcome. I'm Laura Jane Hand. I run a community called the Believe Community, and basically it used to be like the podcast. It used to be about believing in yourself, which is still important. But if we don't have that foundation first, if we are doing everything on our own strength, that's burnout material. That is confusion material. That is going round in circles. And you'll know if that's you, because say you pick a book up, you get your new self-help book, or you've got your new healing or healer or tool or affirmation or whatever it is, and you're like, yes, this is the answer. I've found it. And then it stops working or it doesn't work. And then you try to find something else to heal your body, something else to make that goal happen, something else to find some kind of peace in your heart. You're still searching. So this is why this episode is super important, because yes, there is good in self-help. Yes, improve yourself. Yes, learn and grow, but not to the detriment, not to the pressure and this all-consuming self. It's all about us. It's all about us. The pressure is on us to do everything. So if you imagine for now that you're finding yourself, you're trying to fix yourself, you're trying to heal yourself because you can heal your life, because you can do it. You're trying to trust yourself on your own strength. You're trying to do life on your own steam. You'll know how tired you can get. You'll know how you can wake up in the morning and feel a bit groggy. So on your own steam, you're trying to run your life and keep the plate spinning. And you'll know that creating your vision, creating your goals and your dreams and your plan will not have worked at times. It didn't work for me at times. I've told this story many times where I wanted to get pregnant and it wasn't happening. However, in 2015, I was going to have a girl, and in 2016, I was going to have a boy. And in both years, I had a miscarriage instead. So what was going wrong? And then because I'd followed the books and I'd created my plan of what I wanted, never checked in, never asked God, never went to any sort of prayer time, asking for any help on what is the plan for my life, I've been told that I can create whatever I want. Which, yes, there is freedom in that. But what if you're creating the wrong vision? What if you're creating the wrong dreams? At the time, that might not have been God's plan for me. And actually, I am so glad it didn't happen then. So yes, I can force these plans into existence, but I will be very upset and then angry at God when they don't come true, and I'll blame God and I'll then think he doesn't exist, and I will put all of that blame on me and think, what is wrong with me? Why are other people having the dreams coming true, achieving the goals, and I'm not? That's a lot of pressure to take on. It's a lot of weight to carry to try to create your vision for your life yourself. Can you imagine the clarity needed to know your deepest dreams and how to make it happen, which we're told to do, aren't we? You can make it happen. Get on that mission. You can do it. Like, your nervous system it doesn't want that. It can't stand that. So you've got to find that clarity to know your deepest dreams. And then you need to know the wisdom and the understanding to be able to plan it at the exact right time. And then you need the oomph, for want of a better word, the oomph to make it happen when you've got other things to spin, other plates to spin, marriage, relationships, kids stuff, having your own time, your own stuff that you're dealing with, your own hopes and dreams. And then you need the wisdom to know all of this, the clarity, the strength. And then you need the perseverance and the energy to keep it going. Once you've created that big vision and you've got that big business, you then need the energy to keep that going. That is so much pressure that honestly, my body broke. And God forced me to lie down for those 3 days. It's no coincidence, it's 3 days. And he said, you will lie here until you look at what you are creating and what it's actually doing. So yes, the empowerment of you can do it, you can do anything, is empowering and uplifting and inspiring, but it can become such a burden. So where there is like I said, where there should be freedom in that message, there's actually a burden that weighs most women down. And it's really important, this message, because so many women, you might have done this yourself. I know I did it for a long time. Who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? What's my job title? What business should I start? Am I in the right job? All of that stuff. All of that confusion. What am I here to do? I must be here to do something more than just do spreadsheets for a bank. I must have a bigger purpose on my life than that. So I am going to take on all of that pressure and go out there and do it myself. I never checked in. I didn't know that God was an option. I didn't know that all I had to do was ask and that it would be revealed to me, not in an instant, not so it's all like you just ask and everything's pretty. But I didn't know. I didn't know that the self-help world was actually so busy, so distracting. And I just didn't know. And honestly, I was off social for about 40 days. And I realised after about a couple of weeks, and you're not seeing all the messages of, you can do this, you can do that. And I wasn't doing any self-help work. I'd stepped completely away from it. And I just started to lean back in to God. And my word of things changed. So that burden, that weight can crush you. It can really crush you. And Steve and I, we were talking about this last night. How come it took us so long to go back to God? Because we touched in over the years, there's various points. We said when we went through that really stressful period, why didn't we go back full on then? When we went to through that stressful period, why didn't we go back then? When I had the miscarriages, when we went through a stressful business issue, we would go back and we'd be like, hey, God, help us. And then we wouldn't stay. So like I said, we would go when we were in need, when we were desperate, when we needed God's help. But we weren't staying. We weren't all in. We were there when we needed it. So it worked. But we didn't know that God could be the foundation of everything. And one of the scriptures, when I first went back to the Bible, one of the first scriptures that jumped out at me was, you do not have because you do not ask. You do not ask God. You do not have, because you do not ask God. I don't know about you, but I was asking the moon, the stars, whatever would listen to me. I was asking anybody or anything, mediums, everybody, for what is the purpose of my life? What am I here to do? What is wrong with me? How do I fix myself? I was asking everybody else. I never asked God. You do not have because you do not ask God. So God, who created the whole thing, who was there from the beginning, who has all of the answers, I was going to everybody else and wondering why I was so confused. Going to everybody else saying, hey, what should I do in my business? What's the next step in my business? I didn't go to God. I didn't know God was an option. I didn't understand. I'm not saying, like I say, I've got the whole answers to everything now, but I know that there is no way, and this is part of how do you lean in? There's no way that I would want to start any day without asking God, I can't do this on my own. I cannot build this business. I cannot be a mum. I cannot be a wife. I cannot sort all this out. I cannot fix this health issue. I cannot make this money. I cannot do all of this on my own. And it's pretty humbling because we've been taught the opposite. We've been taught that it's almost that exaltation of ourselves, of we can do it, we are in control. I don't know about you. I don't want to be in control anymore. I don't want that burden. I do not want that pressure. You might find that your digestion is impacted. You might find that hormones are impacted. Your body is impacted because of the weight you're carrying. So, what if you're lost in self-help world? What if you've read all the books, you've done all of the podcasts, you've done all of the healing, energy work, healers, tools, techniques, you name it. What if you have done all of that and you still feel lost, stuck, unsure, unfixed, not happy, searching, you name it? What then? What do you do? And this is one of the real things that we're trying to establish ourselves in the world. We're trying to find a sense of identity. And the modern identity is that role, that job title, that role. And I always wanted it to be super sexy. Admin queen was not good enough, but I'm really good at it. It needed to be coach, podcaster, I don't know, dancer like it used to be. You know, it needed to be something cool, else it wasn't worthy, it wasn't enough. So we try to find our sense of identity, and women I see spend so long, what's my role, what's my identity, who am I, trying to find out all of that, going through the books, the podcasts, the courses, paying for all of the courses, doing another one and another one and another one, and trying desperately to find some value and some meaning in their life through all of this stuff out here. All of the stuff in front of us, outside of us. We're trying desperately to find that security, that meaning, that value of ourselves externally. Now, we're never, when we set that kind of expectation ourselves, we're never going to be as successful as we could be, because we're doing it off our own steam. And like I said, I didn't know that I could use somebody else's steam and run off that. Nobody taught it that way. Have you ever been to church and walked out and just felt completely uninspired and wondered what the point of it all was? Nobody tells you to build that relationship with God, that you can have a relationship where somebody has got you. Not the universe has got you back. God has got your back. The creator of the whole thing has got your back. But only when you believe. It kept saying over and over again, you've got to believe, you've got to believe. If you believe, when you come home to me and you surrender everything to me, that is when I can start work. But until then, I can't do anything. So then we wonder, well, there is no God. Where is God? Because all of this craziness is happening in my life. So all of this self-help world can perpetuate the anxiety, the guilt we feel that we're not achieving what we should be achieving, the shame we feel, the insecurity, the unworthiness, the not enoughness. It's not stopping that. And you've only got to look at the industry and how it's not slowing down. Each year there's more self-help books, all running off your own steam. And if you are thriving with that, keep going. If you are not, if you keep hitting a wall, if you keep burning out, if you keep searching, then who are you leaning on? Somebody in the group messaged and she was talking about a situation she was going through, and all I kept getting was, who are you leaning on? Who has got you? If you have got you, then there's potential trouble, because you will falter, you will fail, you will get tired, confused and lost. Who has got you? Who are you leaning on? I didn't know God was an option to lean on. I didn't get it. It felt icky. It felt weird. I didn't get it. But even yesterday, this is how honest I am. Even yesterday, I am stood in church and I am looking around, and the pastor is so filled, and he was upset, and everyone in the room was loving it, and I wasn't feeling it. And I'm looking around and I'm thinking, what is going on? I knew exactly what was going on in my head, the spirit of unbelief. So I'm like, handing it over. God, I am here. I am handing over this spirit of unbelief. Change it. Help me to believe. I could lean on other people's belief, because the pastor said, Duncan said, God is here. God is in this room, and he could genuinely feel it. You could see with every cell of his body. So I knew that was the truth. Yes, I might not have been feeling it, but I leaned in to his belief, because he's got God in his team and I want God in my team. So it might not feel 100% perfect yet. Will it ever? I don't know. But it's better than it used to be. And you can get that too. It doesn't matter what your relationship with God has been like in the past or with the church. Mine was icky. Mine was cold. Mine was boring and uninspiring. So I went to everything else to find myself. I went to yoga. I went to energy work. I went to every healer and healing under the sun. I went to everybody and everything, every self-help book, every coach out there. to find, fix, heal, and sort me out. I never asked God. I didn't know God was an option. And so many women are missing out on this freedom, this relief, this effortless healing, this vision that can be given to you every step of the way, unfolding for you. There's a plan for you. Yet we don't ask, what is the plan? We don't ask, what is the issue in my body and how do I heal it? We don't ask, what do I do with X, Y, and Z? We do not ask, so we do not receive. We do not ask God, we're asking everybody else. And we're not going to God because it doesn't always make sense. And we're going to all of these other things, but we don't need to struggle with it. We can lean on, we can lean into what somebody else is experiencing. And that is all I can ever share in this God thing and in Believe, in the community, that I can only share my experience. And so say you're thinking, but I still don't get this God thing. I still don't get it. All you can do in that moment is ask yourself, do I still want to do life on my own? Is it easy? Is it going well? If the answer is not so good, do you want to keep doing life on your own? You can ask yourself, if it's all amazing, why is it amazing? Great, keep doing that. Let us know what you're doing. But if you have become lost in this constant striving to fix, find, heal yourself, create this identity, work out who you are, what your plan is, what to do next, and it's burning you out and it's a burden more than the freedom that it feels like it should be, then I would just say keep leaning in. Keep leaning in. Keep being around other women that are leaning in regardless of how much belief or not they've got at the minute. The spirit of unbelief can be replaced with the spirit of belief. It's like fear. We're told not to have. God hasn't given us a spirit of fear. Yet how many times do we live with the spirit of fear? God hasn't given us that. He's not given us a spirit of unbelief. It's the way it's all been taught. It's the exposure to it, the things we've been through. If you look at my life and the stuff that I've gone through, and you look at my early religious education, you will know and understand why I did not see God as an option. I wish somebody had explained it like this. That it's not about religion, it is about relationship. And you can have a really amazing relationship with God who has your back, who will answer you, who will guide you, who will heal you. There's a million promises in that Bible. I will not remember them all. But it all comes back to that I didn't realise, I didn't know. I didn't know that that was the message that I was putting out there. I didn't know that I was so wrapped up in it. I didn't know that I was constantly working, improving, striving, making, creating, all on my own steam. I didn't know I was doing that until I stopped, stepped away from the noise, got rid of the distractions, and you know what? I was like, whoa, I'm okay as I am. I'm actually okay. And the more I leaned into God and said, hey, I don't exactly know what to do next, it was like, stay off social media longer. And you would get given these prompts and these nudges one after, like day after day. You know, the whole plan didn't go, hey, there's the plan. You believed for a day. Here's the plan. Here's the gifts. It was like, keep leaning in. Keep believing. Become a believer, not a doubter. We think that by being a believer, it's this esoteric thing where it's like, right, all the candles come on. It's like, oh, I'm now a believer. And we have to shout it from the rooftops. No. It's a case of in any moment, and you could do this now. You could go from being a doubter to a believer in this moment by just leaning on my belief, by just leaning into my experience. Like I lean into the people at church and think, whoa, I'm inspired by his peace, by his connection, by the look on her face, by the connection she's got. And you're inspired to lean in, and you can do that in any moment. In any moment, on any day when you wake up, you could say, doesn't need to be anything dramatic or over the top, God, I am not doing this I'm not doing this day, my life on my own anymore. I don't want to do it on my own. Come in, fill me up with your strength, with your wisdom, with your ideas, with your energy. Come in and use me, work through me. That's empowerment. Because yes, you're being used, so you're a massive, you're very important. This isn't to say you're not important and God is. It's to say that it's this teamwork. You're doing it all on your own strength is burnout, confusion, craziness. And instead you can hand it all over. You can ask God to come and run and rule and be your strength. And yes, it can feel icky. Yes, it cannot make sense. I get it. You're speaking to somebody that completely gets where you can be when God feels icky. But at the end of the day, we don't need to live confused, tired, burnt out, stressed, striving, healing, finding, fixing, because all we need to do is ask. And in order to really start to lean in and believe, like I said, it's not one big crazy demonstration where you've got to shout it from the rooftops. It's a day by day refusing to do life on your own and knowing that God is real and can help you. And sometimes that takes getting to the absolute end of your tether. That can take, like I said with Steve last night, we were talking about it. I don't think I finished that story. Why did we go through all of those things and still not come back to God? And it says in the Bible, you will go through all of these things, yet you will still not return to me. In Daniel, it talks about how 7 times you will go through some crazy stuff, and only then will you return to me. Why do we leave it until things are so painful, until things are so hard, until we've run out of our own steam, that we're like, I don't want to do this life thing on my own anymore? We don't need to wait until that point, but if that's the point where it's got to get to, but if you don't want to get to that point and you want to be like, and you're inspired by, look at what happens when you hand things over. Things get better. When you ask, when you believe, you aren't doing things on your own anymore. You have more freedom, you have more energy, and life becomes so much simpler. Through all of this, our mantra became simplify and slow down. Because we don't need all of these affirmations, all of these tools, all of these techniques, all of this coaching, all of this healing, all of these healers. We don't need, there was so much noise and bump and things to do. And it's so simple and it's so powerful if you can believe. And you can start to believe. Get around women that are believing, that are not wanting to do life on their own anymore. Keep listening to this, other episodes. Get into a church where they speak. I googled evangelist churches. I wanted a cool church to go to that talked about relationship, not religion. God has got your back. The universe hasn't got your back. God created the universe. God has got your back. If you will hand everything over in the morning, if you will get up and say, no, not my will anymore, because my will, my ways lead to burnout, craziness, confusion. I don't want any of that anymore. And come back to this podcast. This is what we're going to be doing. And you can start to build that relationship yourself. You can let go of the self-obsession. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault that we've all become obsessed with ourselves and what we're going to achieve and what we're going to do and what we need to make happen. It's this self-obsession. It's not your fault. But your choice now is what you do next. And it's an experience. No words could ever describe it. I could keep going with this podcast for another 10 hours. I could speak to you about how amazing it is when you start to hand things over, when you ask for God's plan, when you start to believe. But it's an experience that you'll feel inside. Instead of trying to find your purpose and work out who you are, why you're here, what you should be doing, should you be in this job, relationship, should you leave, what should you do, you'll find this sense of security and this groundedness and this anchor that everything that doesn't need to be there slips away. And the things that do, it's that strength, it's that security that we're all craving. And the modern identity is self-fueled. You can do it. Manifest your dreams. Build your goals. Get on your mission. Don't stop. And your true identity always has been, always will be. And you get to choose to step into that. And the first step is to say, I'm not doing life on my own anymore. If you want to learn more about this, go and check out laurajanehand.com/believe. You'll see all about Believe. Listen to some of the other episodes, the YouTube videos. Reach out, DM me, just get in touch, because I am a living, breathing, walking example of somebody that did not know God was an option, and now I would not do anything without checking in and asking first. All right, thank you for listening and watching, and I'll see you again next time.